In this video, you're going to take a look at how the hero animation allows a widget transition to fly into place from one page to another, and also how to use the PageRoute Builder to create custom navigation transitions with the hero animation. The hero widget is a great out-of-the-box animation to convey the navigation action of a widget flying into place from one page to another. The hero animation is a shared element transition between two different pages. Now, to visualize the animation, imagine seeing a superhero flying into action. For example, we have a list of journal entries with a photo thumbnail. The user selects an entry, and you see the photo thumbnail transition to the detail page by moving and growing to full size. Now, the photo thumbnail is the superhero, and when tapped, it flies into action by moving from the list page to the detail page and lands perfectly on the correct location at the top of the detail page, showing the full photo. When the detail page is dismissed, the hero widget flies back to the original page, position, and size. The hero widget has the animation features built in. There's no need to write custom code to handle the size and animation between pages. The hero child widget is marked for hero animation. When the navigator pushes or pops a page route, the entire screen's content is replaced. This means during the animation transition, the hero widget is not shown in the original position in both the old and new routes, but it moves and resizes from one page to another. Now, this is very important. Each hero tag must be unique and match on both the originating and landing pages. The PageRoute Builder class is used to create custom route transitions. PageRoute Builder provides an animation object. This animation can be used with tween and curve objects to customize the transition animation. You need to define a page builder function to create the route's content and define the transition builder function to add transition animation. Let's take a look at the sample project. I'm going to run the app so we can view what the animations are going to look like by using a combination of the hero widget and also the material PageRoute Builder. We have a list here of cards. Let's just assume this is a list of different journal entries. And each card represents a record in the journal entry. And when the user taps on one of the cards, you'll notice that the animations the card grows into the detail page. The image, the title, and the subtitle also move into place in the details page where they're supposed to be. And if you close the detail page, the animations will reverse and shrink down. And let's click one of these other cards. And as you can see, the different effects, depending on which card you're clicking on, the motion is the same, but they all go into the correct place. Look at the last one. So how do we do this? Let's take a look at this. First, to build this list of simple entries, there's a class called HeroType, and the constructor is a name constructor that takes a title, subtitle, an image, and a material color. And there's a method here to create a samples list. And this list is a type of hero type, which is this particular class. And just normal, you take a list, and in this case, it's called the underscore hero type, and you add each entries, the title, the subtitle, the image, and the material color that we're going to use. Now, let's take a look at the home page. On the home page, we're going to have that list of hero type list, which is of course of the hero type class that we just declared in the hero type Dart file. In the init state, we'll take that list and we'll go ahead and initialize it and call the method create samples list from the hero type class to populate our list. In the did change dependency method, here what we want to do is once we have the context to the page, we want to calculate the screen width adjustments. So we use the media query and we look at the size width, the width of the screen, and we're saying, okay, we want to take the width of the screen and subtract the left and right margins of the card, which equal 48 pixels. And we also want to subtract the left and right padding of the title and subtitle from the card itself. Now, once we have the screen adjustment, the width adjustment, let's take a look at the body and how we're populating. Of course, we have the safe area. We use the ListView builder. By using the item extent, you set the height of each card here, of each item, to 180 pixels. Now you can adjust that up and down depending on your requirements. And of course, the item count is the hero type list length, which is the number of records in our sample list. Now the item builder is going to return a gesture detector, which means when you tap on one of these cards, the on-tap event is going to execute certain code to navigate to the next page. Now the gesture detector's child is a card, and I wanted to give the card some margin. So I'm using left and right side here, the left side and the right side. We have 24 pixels on each side. On the top, we're giving it 16 pixels. And on the bottom, between each card, we're giving 8 pixels distance between them. And I've also set the elevation to 4.0 here, which gives it a nice little shadow around the card. Now for the shape, I'm using the rounded rectangle border, and I'm giving it a radius of 12 pixels, so we get a nice little border radius around the card, a little bit more than the default card would give it. And I'm also using the clip behavior to Antialias, which means because the card's child is a stack, if we don't use the clip behavior, let's say I comment this out and I save this, if you notice, we just lost the rounded corner because the stack goes on top of the card as a child and it overrides the card. By using the clip behavior, we're saying whatever items or wherever child is being added, we're going to clip that child so that we keep our nice rounded border. Now let's look at the card's child. It's a stack, and that's how we create this layout. And the first widget here is a hero widget, which is the tag is the background. So we're going to have multiple hero widgets in this card. The first one is the background. And the most important part about a hero widget is that you must have a unique tag for each widget. So in this case, we're just saying, okay, let's just label this tag background, plus to this idea of the tag, I'm going to say, at the index that we're at, just take the title, which in this case is Amber, and say background plus Amber, and that would be the unique ID for this hero widget, which represents our background. This hero widget is what is responsible for, when you tap on it, that the actual card grows into the size of the detail page, and when you close it, it shrinks back. That's the hero that is creating that transition. The next, we have 3 more widgets. And since we're in a stack, we're going to use the position widget. So we position the widgets where we need to. The first position widget is the image, which is also a hero widget with the tag image. And again, I use this. You can use any unique IDs that you like. I just put the tag as image plus the particular title of this entry. Now, for this case, the image, the child of the hero, instead of being just a plain container for our background, because that's all that we need, is an actual image. So it's getting the image from the list, from the item that is on this particular index. And we're also saying for the image assets, let's use a box fit that would fit the width, so that it fits the entire width of the card. And I'm also setting the height to the image to be 80. Now you could set that height higher depending on your requirements. And using the position, it's telling the top of this image needs to be from the top, the left, and the right, 0 pixels. So it's the topmost position in this card. Now, the next widget, which is also using a positioned, is the actual title, which is in this case, it's amber, light green, light blue. The same, we're saying where the position should be, this particular widget, the title, and I'm using 96 pixels from the top, and to the left, 32 pixels, so it's being indented 32 pixels in, as you can see, amber, and the subtitle here. And we'll get to the subtitle in a second. Now, we also want the width of this positioned to be that calculation that we did earlier in the did change dependency to be the screen width adjustment, which means we want this title to go from the left here all the way to the right here and cut it off here, so we also have a padding on the right. Of course, this position has the same thing. It's a hero. The tag here, I'm saying the text plus the title. That would be the unique tag. Now, there is one caveat here that we need to be aware of. When we use a hero widget and we want to use a text widget to do the hero animation, there's an issue with this, and I know that Google, there's a GitHub issue on this that they're working on, and they're aware of this. In order for this to work, you need to wrap it into a material widget. And the material widget, just give it a color transparent. The reason why we need to do this, if we don't add that material widget, when you tap on here, in fact, let's go ahead and do that. Let's just remove the material widget. Oops. If I can hit the right key here, let's just remove that widget. And I'm going to save. Now see what happens when I tap on here. Did you see that? How you had a double line underneath the title? So that's an issue that they're aware of, and that's why you need to use the material widget so that we do not have that issue. Once you put it back, if you tap on the same card again, when it goes back, that's gone, it's fixed. Just be aware of that. Hopefully in the future, you will not need to do that, but it's pretty straightforward. And the only other item here for the text here, for the title, I just give it a little style, a text style. The font size, I made it 24 points, 24 pixels here, 24 points. And the font weight, I wanted to do bold, which I bolded it. And for the color, we're just taking from that list. We're saying, hey, take the material color, which is in this case is amber green, but give it a shade of 900 so that the title is actually bold and the color is really darker than the background of the card so that you have some contrast there. Now let's look at the last position, which is our subtitle now, where we have our lorem ipsum right there. And let's close that detail. Same thing, the position, you give it a top, a left, the screen width, and again, the child is the hero, the tag, subtitle plus the title. Same thing, since it's a text widget, we wrap it into material for now. Because we're using a hero widget, you'll need to do that. Now, there's one more item that you need to be aware of, that we're using a PageRoute Builder to create this animation. Well, you don't really have to use that. In fact, let's just go ahead and let's just comment out the PageRoute Builder here. I'll comment that out. And why don't we use a regular material page route, which is the default that comes with the material. So what happens if I do this instead? When you tap on each card, the animation is still there, nothing changed. But if you notice, it's very quick, right? And if you're looking for that effect, that's fine. Just use the material page route. But let's uncomment that out. Let's go back to the PageRoute Builder. But by using the PageRoute Builder, you notice we kind of slowed down the animation on purpose here. So let's take a look at this, what's going on. And the previous video goes into detail that I did on the PageRoute Builder. So if you haven't seen the video, please go ahead and go back to my previous video, and it explains the PageRoute Builder, the different transition effects that you can create. And we're just passing said we want it to be a full screen dialog, which means that we have the little X here to close the details page down. The transition duration, I gave it a milliseconds of 1,000, which is 1 second. I wanted to slow down for this demo so you can see how it actually looks. Of course, you can change this to 500 milliseconds, let's say, half a second. And go ahead and do that to whatever duration you like to do your transition. The details page that is being called is just being passed that hero type class, which has the information of the title, the subtitle, the image, and the material color when you tap that is selected. And for the transition builder, it's just returning a fade transition. Very simple, very straightforward. Now, let's go look at the detail page. In the detail page, of course, we're taking that hero type in our constructor, which is passing the information that was selected from the list. And of course, in the init state, we're taking the widget hero type, which is that information that was passed from the home page, into our hero type here. There was a variable that was declared here in our state widget, in our state. And then the did change dependencies. We want to get the screen width of the page, this page, the detail page. And all we're doing is a media query, get the width of the screen by doing the media query size.width. And we do this in the did change dependencies because we need to wait for that in order to get the context of this widget. So let's look at the body. Same, we have a safe area and the child is a stack. So this is actually exact same layout that we have in the list view. If you look at the first hero, it's just a background. And this is where that tag must be unique. So again, we duplicate how we did it in the list page, in the home page, background plus the title. And again, the container is just, the child is a container with the color, which is what you see on the background. And the next widgets are the same thing. Just like we saw in the home page, we're positioning the widget where we need it to be here on the detail page. Now, let's say you want to align something a little differently. And why don't we take the title? So what we have here, we have a position that says top 250 pixels from the top. From the left, we want it to be 32 pixels. And we're taking the screen width minus 64, which is left side and right side margins that we're trying to put here, the padding, which equals to 64. That's the width. Let me click on the blue one. This is the width that we want this title to be light blue. And if you notice here in the subtitle, I'm doing the exact same thing. We're taking a screen width minus those two margins. And you can see why I'm doing this, because if you have longer text, you have a nice margin both on the left and on the right. But let's take a look at the title widget. I'm going to close this down. So for the title widget, let me just comment out the width. And instead of being positioned from the left 32 pixels, why don't we position it from the right? So what happens when we do that? When we tap on that, if you notice now, the title went and animated correctly to the right. And all we're doing is just changing where we want that position in the detail. And depending each one that you tap on, each different widget, you'll get that effect. And it's all done automatically for you. The hero widget is extremely powerful. And as you can see here, when used in a stack and used with these positioned widgets, you can create some incredible effects. And now this is going back to the original. How does it work? The hero animation is a powerful built-in animation to convey an action by automatically animating a widget from one page to another to the correct size and position. When you navigate back to the previous page, the hero animates back to the original position. Each hero tag must be unique and match on both the originating and landing pages. The PageRoute Builder class is used to create custom route transitions. PageRoute Builder provides an animation object. This animation can be used with tween and curve objects to customize the transition animation.